Hello guys, welcome to Nandi and welcome to the session of the Hindu Plus Current Affairs Analysis. I hope all of you are doing well and safe. So sorry I was unable to publish current affairs for a week. So because of the technical errors. So before the beginning, please like, share, comment and subscribe to our channel and please do share with fellow UPSC or state services aspirants. Let's begin the session. Suspected drone attack on Indian Air Force station in Jammu leaves two injured. J&K police call it terror attack and FIR registered under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. NIA team visits site. By the way, let me tell you one thing, drone attacks are not new to India by Pakistan. Pakistan in the past also used drones for dropping arms, ammunition and drugs in the Indian territories of Punjab and Haryana and other areas, right? But what is the significance of this attack? This is the first time drones were used to attack defense installations of India, right? This is the first time defense installations in India were attacked by drones, right? So in that attack, two persons are also got injured. Okay, so this comes at a time when government of India trying to establish peace and stability in the J&K region by restoring the statehood of J&K, and also they're going to begin the delimitation process also, right? In this context or in this timing, and this is also significant in the context of when India shifted its focus from Pak LOC to LAC of China. Okay, now the India, it's very clear that because of the Galwan standoff, right? Now India shifted its security policy from Pakistan to China. So in this context, now Pakistan, this drones again brings to the debate of Indo-Pakistan security issues, while India is facing security threats and territorial occupation by the China. So now India is facing from problem from LOC plus LAC also. Okay, and as you know that recently India moved almost 50,000 soldiers from these areas to LAC in order to counter the presence of China. Okay, so in the Ladakh area. So this particular topic is very significant, by the way, from the point of view of security. GS paper 3, security. So in the next slide we can see now the use of drones by Pakistan based elements has been a major cause of concern for the Indian security perspective, right? So and drones are now a favored terror tool also. Why they are favored terror tools, by the way? Because they fly in low altitudes plus they are small. So because of these features, drones cannot be detected by radars. Okay, so taking the advantage of this, now the use of drones have been increased drastically. So you can understand by the data, by the way, in 2019 there are almost 167 drone sightings, and in 2020 77 drone sightings in India. In 2021 Jammu and Kashmir police caught two persons while they were picking up a consignment of 16 grenades, two AK-47 rifles, 9 AK magazines, a pistol and ammunition which were smuggled via drones. And in another case, the Punjab police seized 11 grenades that were airdropped from Pakistan's by drones. So these are the examples. You can see how challenging the situation is, and it is considered that the yesterday's attack, that is Sunday attack, is also an extension of the trend of Pakistan based syndicates using drones to smuggle drugs and weapons into the Indian side, right? So now this is a big problem, the how to deal with this. So in order to deal with this, all technology based solutions are being used or are being explored to counter it, right? Anti drone jammers cannot be that effective in the border areas, but they can be deployed at security sensitive installations to prevent such attacks in future, right? So drone, anti-drone jammers, you can remember this. On, by the way, implying snipers also, sniper by shooting down by the snipers. At the same time, we can use radio frequency signals to track the drones. Okay, so these are the solutions now the Indian government is looking at in the context of increasing drone attacks from Pakistan into the Indian side. And when it comes to the first, the drones, the weaponized drones were first used by the Islamic State in northern Iraq in 2016 and then in Syria. So the first, these were the weaponized drones were first used by the IS in 2016 against Iran, in northern Iran. Okay, so these are the data. So another emerging challenge for the security forces is the increasing use of improvised explosive devices. So on Sunday, the last yesterday, one such device weighing up about 5 kgs was also found by the Jammu police, raising suspicion over the involvement of the same group in both cases. So this particular thing is very significant, by the way, from the security pass perspective. So you have to prepare yourself for mains plus in preliminary perspective also. Those who are going for the interview, so you have to have a comprehensive and holistic understanding about this new terror threat by using drones, weaponized drones. NHRC, Human Rights Commission, seeks report on pregnancy among minors. Who are minors? Children who are below 18 years of age are called as minors. Okay, so here this article is referred to sexual exploitation of minor girls in residential schools of Odisha in districts Nabarangpur, Malkangiri, Kendrapara, Jaipur and Kalahandi districts. Okay, so here there are reports of sexual exploitation of minor girls who are below 18 years age in the residential schools. Okay, so this particular article is very relevant for your examination point of view, because this sexual exploitation of minors are becoming more common these days, right? In the name of education, in the name of employment, innocent minor girls have been exploited sexually by mafias, right? Certain mafias. So this issue is very significant from the examination point of view, which it is a part of your GS paper 2 social issue. So you must have a solution how to tackle this inhuman and barbaric, right, acts of sexual exploitation of minor girls. Despite having POCSO acts like POCSO, right, still we are this kind of instances have been increasing day by day, right? And NHRC also comes under the paper GS paper 2 as part of constitutional and statutory bodies. Okay, so let's see what is NHRC. NHRC was established according to the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. According to the same act, even State Human Rights Commission also has been established in 1993. Okay, so when it comes to NHRC, it is a multi-member committee chaired by retired Chief Justice of India or a judge of Supreme Court, and it consists of members also. And one more significant thing is that it consists of ex officio members, right? Who are these ex officio members? Ex officio members are the chairpersons of the following committees: National Committee for Minorities, National Committee for SCs, National Committee for STs, and National Commission for Women. So the chairpersons of these 4 commissions will act as the ex officio members of the NHRC. Okay, so these members are appointed by the President on the recommendation of a selection committee headed by the Prime Minister and composed by Lok Sabha Speaker and Deputy Chairperson of Rajya Sabha and Union Home Minister and leader of the opposition in both the houses. Can they be removed? Yes, of course they can be removed by the President under proved misbehavior. If they come to the tenure, then they can serve for 3 years or until they reach 70 years of the age, whichever is the earlier. Okay, this data is more than enough. This is the basic data regarding the NHRC. So when it comes to mains, you need to study about the weaknesses of the NHRC, because despite having NHRC, the cases have been rising, right? So you need to prepare in that direction, weakness of the NHRC and how to tackle this sexual exploitation of children. And you need to read about the POCSO Act also. Okay, protection of children from sexual offenses. This act is also very significant. Okay, primary education must be in mother tongue. Our Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu garu, while talking in a conference, that is Rashtriyetara Telugu Samakhya Conference, he endorsed teaching in mother tongue at primary education level. As you know that National Education Policy 2020, which was approved by Union Cabinet in July 2020, it envisages the use of mother tongue as medium of instruction in schools until grade 5, preferably until grade 8, in mother tongue or local language or regional languages. So in order to improve the learning, right? Because education must be learning based instead of content based. As you know that so many students in our India who are in 5th or 6th class, they are unable to read, they can't even read the textbook of 1st class or 2nd class. This is, I mean, the data shows, okay? And in order to increase the students participation also, so teaching in mother tongue can also improve the student participation, and at the same time it reduces the number of dropouts. As you know that India is having a huge dropout ratio. Okay, so in order to tackle this, teaching in mother tongue is very significant. So because of that, our NEP 2020 also envisages the importance of mother tongue as a medium of instruction. At the same time, along with this, the need of the hour is to provide new curriculum, providing new textbook of fresh teaching training and construction of infrastructure, especially women friendly or girl friendly infrastructure, because of that many schools doesn't have a washroom or toilets. So because of that, even most of the families doesn't send their children to the schools. So that is unfortunately real. At the same time, funding must be allocated, more funding must be allocated to the education system. You know that if you look at the budget allocation of our India, we spend most of our budget on the defense and other sectors, right? So but we need to spend more and more on education, right? So if you look at some of the facts here, according to the 2011 census, there are almost 270 mother tongues are registered in India, and according to the 2017 study, there are almost 47 languages were used as medium of instructions in Indian classroom. So this is the basic data which is important for your examination. By the way, this topic comes under GS paper 2 as part of education. Okay, this topic is very important. Let's see some of the provisions of NEP 2020. Here you can see some of the most important provisions of National Education Policy 2020. Number 1, provision of universal education from preschool to secondary level by 2030. Okay, at the same time, increasing seats at higher education level, and at the same time, no rigid separation between curricular and extracurricular activities. Earlier, under the extracurricular activities, sports and other activities were treated as separately from academic. Now there are no such separation between curricular or extracurricular activities. Okay, they are also considered as academic. All right, and at the same time, it also focuses on the dropout rate, reducing the dropout rate in India, and vocational education to start from class 6 with internship, and new 5+, 3+, 3+4 school curriculum with 12 years of schooling and 3 years of Anganwadi or pre-schooling. At the same time, as I told you, teaching up to at least grade 5 to be in mother tongue or regional languages. So this is very significant from your preliminary plus mains point of view. So you may expect a question from National Education Policy. So you have to pay more attention to this NEP 2020. Here I have mentioned some of the constitutional and legal provisions safeguarding the regional languages. Article 29, protection of interest of the minorities as part of fundamental rights. Okay, and Article 120, language to be used in Parliament, either Hindi or English or mother tongue can also be used in the Parliament by giving a prior notice. At the same time, Part 17 of the Indian Constitution deals with the official languages in Article 343 to 351. So here I've mentioned in detailed way. At the same time, as you know that Article 8th Schedule of India recognized 22 languages, right? Even Telugu also part of this 8th schedule. At the same time, Right to Education Act 2019 says that the medium of instruction shall, as for practicable, both be in child's mother tongue. So these are very, very significant for your mains point of view. Please note down this information. This is very, very important for mains as prelims as well. Nuclear site images won't be shared with IAEA, Iran, and deal with the agency has expired. So recently, 3 months ago, IAEA signed a deal with Iran to monitor the nuclear activities in the Iran, which was ended on May 4th, right? It was signed in February, so it was ended in May 4th. So because of that, now Iran is saying that they're not going to share images of images with the IAEA. But before that, there's a background for this. In 2015, P5 plus 1. P5, why do we call P5? P5, there are 5 permanent members of UNSC, United Nations Security Council, which have veto power. There are US, UK, France, Russia, and China, along with Germany, right? We call them as P5. They signed a deal, that is, we call it as a nuclear deal or joint comprehensive plan of action, JCPOA. This is very important from preliminary and mains point of view, by the way. But unfortunately in 20, so according to this, what is the significance of this deal, by the way? According to this, Iran agreed to curb its nuclear activity in return for the lifting of sanctions and access to global trade. But unfortunately in 2018, under Trump, United States of America withdrawn from the deal, right? And also it reimposed sanctions on Iran. So that was the beginning of further deterioration of relations between Europe, P5 plus 1 and Iran, right? In that context, IAEA signed a 3-month monitoring agreement with Iran, but which was ended on May 24th. This particular topic is very relevant for your UPSC and other state services guys, because you know that, right? Because of trial, and last year also there was questions, couple of questions from this point of view. US, Iran and India trilateral relation perspectives, right? How relations of US and Iran are impacting the Indian interest. For example, you know that, right? India has strategic interest in Iran, especially energy security point of view. It wanted to develop Chabahar port, right, in order to access Central Europe for the energy security. But unfortunately, because of the deterioration of relations between Iran and USA, so India is in doubt right now. So because of that, Iran also disappointed because of the behavior of India, right? Because India is thinking so much US centric. Now India's foreign policy is so much US centric. So India is not going to take any action which is against the US interest. Otherwise, it will face sanctions, right? So because of that, our relations are also getting impacted because of this issue. So this particular issue is very, very relevant from mains plus preliminary point of view, right? By the way, it comes under GS paper 2, international relations.